Hello everyone and welcome to my Essential Messages. My name is Bobby and I will be your guide for today. Today I'm going to do some channeling messages and so we'll get into those in a minute. I do have a new Codes to a New Reality video coming, and it's all about hidden codes to gold. So that's including monotonic gold and the Anunnaki. So it's really exciting to share that information. Hey Zen, good to see you. Zen Debbie. So we're in Australia, in Brisbane. It is the 11th of the 11th here. I just put up a little post up on Facebook, which said what I used to do with my girls, and what I used to do on the 11th is tell them that everybody else is focusing in on war and we're great manifestors, so I don't want to be putting any effort into that. I want you guys to imagine what it would be like to have the best world ever, because you're using that 1111 number, that manifestation number, to focus in on what you really want to desire. And I feel the program was holding us back with guilt. And it's all good to remember, but it's better to be focusing on what you really want to have in your world, because that's where we're going, and that's the whole reason why they went through what they went through. And in honor and respect of that, let's change the world. Let's get up and make this a new day and shift our energy towards a loving, more beautiful reality, that, a world that we are free in. Yeah. So, hey, Jeannie, good to see you. I'm going to be channeling some messages. The big message that I got was that we are going through a big reshuffle, and it's coming soon. It's like on our doorstep. So we're going to go into this channeling. I did wake up this morning with some messages coming through. Also, I'm an intuitive counselor. If anyone wants to book a one-on-one reading with me, my link is down below. The prices I'm going to keep a little bit low at the moment because of what's going on. So yeah, my little effort to help. And if you can't afford a good one-on-one reading, which I have like heaps and heaps, I think about 60 reviews, and I've put every single review up on my website called Bad and Different, but they're all been absolutely amazing. So I'm very grateful for that. Clear my throat a bit. So if you want to have a one-on-one reading with me, that's the links are down below. Okay, let's get into this channel message. Hey Annie, good to see you. Yeah, this morning when I was waking up, they were showing me the vortex. They were showing me a few messages. They were showing me the fire. So on my image of when the Anunnaki came by in end of 2013, they visited me. And their arrival ended up prompting me to do I keep showing this lately, actually. It's an image of a channeled image of, I've showed this a few times, but of this, but this is why I'm showing it now, because this one here, this fire in the middle, I wasn't sure what it meant. And they were giving me the indication of there is certain energies that will, it's kind of like you're going towards the sun, and the sun is source energy itself, or God, or whatever you want to call it, the all infinite wisdom of everything. It is a portal towards that. It is the gateway from this physical world into the etherical world, and that's why your bodies cannot come with you. But it's almost like they're showing me that love frequency coming from the sun is now so potent here on Earth, with all the solar flares happening, that it's sending fire through humanity's reality, consciousness, and the collective. And anything that matches love or is in their authentic self, we are so confused with what that even means, because we see an animal and we're like, well, why can they go through? They're not affected, because they're in a absolute knowing of a cat is a cat and a dog is a dog and a lion is a lion, and it's kind of like that. And I mean, if they do have issues, then they've probably got them from being around humans. And humans are the ones that have lost their authenticity, their togetherness with nature, their understanding of how they are interwoven into the nature of everything, because nature and them are as one in itself. And when we separate ourselves from that and believe in a program that somebody else told us, it distorts us, and we fall into these patterns of anger, fear, guilt, denial, doubt, all of those sort of things. And that's the lack of love. So when more love comes from the sun and it's infiltrating everything, it's asking us to, now they're showing me a funnel, go into the like hourglass where the sand all falls in, and there's one little grain at a time, a few grains at a time that can come in, and they form a vortex, and everything gets sucked in with it. And that space, that tight space, is just pure love. That's how they explain it to me. So we are moving, or we have moved through, or we are about to move through, depending on where you are in your level of consciousness and who you are, whether you're a forerunner or not. You are about to either go into that vortex where you are meeting yourself as that love frequency. In other words, everything that you think and believe in, and that, is it meeting love? Are you seeing your outer world as love just as much as your inner world? Because we've been focusing in on our inner world, because we've been talking to ourselves so negatively because of the program pulled over us and the guilt pulled over us. And then we have to also switch that around and then look at our outer world and understand that that is love too. And we cannot meet this higher frequencies of new earth experiences unless we are meeting it from looking outside of ourselves as love as well. It can't just be an inner thing, and it can't just be an outer thing. It has to be both. Both is the unification of humanity's journey through this, creating this. So they're showing me the big reshuffle is the vortex is now being created by those few people that have gone through that inner knowing and understanding of themselves as love, and the outer world as love, everything as that. And when they've gone through, they've come out the other end recognizing themselves as this, not just a physical being, but an etherical being, a soul, as well as the physical world. They understand themselves in an alignment, a different alignment, a different perspective, different perception. They can feel gifts starting to come up and become more integrated into their reality and grounded into their world. So the vortex is then sucking more people in. So you can imagine an hourglass, and then it's sucking more people in. So this is where the change happens, because everything has to be reshuffled. They're showing me in the past, many eons ago, there would be a huge natural disaster that would take out everything that wasn't resonating with that love frequency. But it's almost like there's a shift or a change, and they were telling me, I'm just going to go with this. This is what they were telling me the early hours of the morning as I was waking up, that because there were so many people of higher frequencies, souls of higher frequencies that were called by humanity to save them, coming in, and it wasn't just that they were going to be the observer or the angelic messengers or whatever. They were also going to be born in a human form. And because there were so many of them born in a human form, they are light bearers. And so the disaster that's happening is now being shattered. So it's not so much, there's little disasters going around. And if you're really, really caught in a negative zone, you'll definitely be caught in one of those disaster sort of events. But they're showing me more people coming through because of the light workers being positioned and holding this frequency to allow. And so those that would have produced or brought disaster to the human race, even source energy itself, is now, it's not as much. It's like, it's really interesting because the light workers have shifted it, where eons ago they would have just been the angelics. Now they're actually in human form. So they are part of the growth of humanity now. And it's a change. There's something, this is why they're calling it a reshuffle. It's like everything, it's not just humanity that is awakening out of this either, because of this reshuffle. Perceptions of, say for instance, that they're showing in my head the Anunnaki, who are, as far as I know, part of the Atlas 3I and so forth. They would have normally had an intention or held an intention and a power within them to throw a disaster on humanity to get the shift happening. And now they're like stepping back and watching what the light workers do. That sort of thing. That's the sort of thing I'm getting. It's like they're waiting, and then they're learning from this different way of transitioning through the love or light or transitioning. They're seeing it differently now, and it's awakening them because they're not repeating a story as well. There's something about a repeating story that they were caught into with humanity's consciousness, and now the story has been dissolved. So the reshuffling is also with them and their way that they're thinking of how things have to be, because they've done these long orbits, and they always come around and do the same sort of thing when they do these long orbits. Check up on humanity, see where humanity is. Does it need to, restart or something like that? And same with Pleiadians, they're getting new insights as well, because lots of them have come in as humans, and we're getting the inside out kind of understanding now. And so we're realizing just how difficult it was for humanity, where if you're just an observer, a light being sending messages through dreams and stuff, you don't completely understand how difficult it is to navigate the mind, and that has been infiltrated by everything outside of you, reflecting that you are useless, or you are a victim, or you are powerless. And so they're getting their inside job as well, and understanding. We change things. There's been a massive change, and the shift is awakening source energy to a realization of a reshuffle. So that's a pretty broad thing. Like, we're talking Cyanian messages here that is close to source energy. To bring this into a grounded kind of a way for humans, you as a one person going on your day-to-day sort of, life, and how can you deal with this? It's more of a like doing all the shadow work that we've done, and now we're in the phase of reshuffling our own psyche of who we want to be in this world. How do you want to show up in your world? And right at this moment, there's this chance or a choice for you that you can make one way or another, whether you want to be a humble person in a little cottage, you know, away from everybody else and just doing your artwork and sending your messages out online, or whatever it is, or whether you want to get out into the world and speak to millions. There is no wrong or right. Whether you want to have a little shack in a forest, or whether you want to have a grandiose house that looks beautiful, there is no wrong or right, and no judgment on any decisions now. And you know that. So now the choice is freedom. And that's the reshuffling for humanity, especially those that have done the work. We are now finding the fact that we can choose anything, really. It's literally any possibility is available to you on the table. So do you want to think big, or do you want to, be humble by a choice that is, more a resting, a respite for yourself? I'm choosing my words wisely here, because I don't want to put a negative connotation on a choice that you make, and all that's necessary is for you to stand by your choice in the end, for it to be grounded. But if you're not at the point where you've made a real grounded conscious choice, where maybe there is a slight fear, or maybe there is indecision or indecisiveness because you've never gone that path before, and it's when you make a firm decision that things will start to flow in the way that in the direction or the path that you have carved for yourself. So just imagine yourself, they're showing me as if you had, as if you had passed over. And I know that you don't know what it's like to have passed over, but there is part of you that does, because the soul knows that part, that side of the story. In that space, you are in an infinite possibility realm, and they are like saying, ground it into this world. Don't go around day to day doing exactly the same things, expecting a different outcome. Ask yourself, what is the practical, grounded thing to do for me to move towards the path that I've decided for myself? And I'm happy with that decision. That's where we're at with the reshuffle at the moment. So that's why it's like we're going to and fro from one decision to another a bit, but it's okay to be in that space as well. Just realize that sooner or later you're going to have to make a firm, very firm choice on who you want to be in your world, because it's just your world. So you might have made a choice from a soul's perspective because you hold a mission. They're showing me a bag. They're showing me the Anunnaki with those bags as well. A vibration. Interesting. They're showing me you're holding something that you will vibrate that will make you the happiest ever. But even so, if you change your mind, in this world, it is acceptable because someone else will pick up where you left off, because the wholeness is a tapestry on the other side of the veil. So if we go through the hourglass and you're falling now and you're in this other realm of infinite possibilities while grounded on earth in this body, someone else will pick up the slack anyway, because it's a new creation that we're creating, and you're coming from the love of yourself, and that is enough. But more than likely, your mission will follow, your soul will, and your mission will follow your grounded wish or desire, because the soul knew before it was born what would make it the happiest anyway. So, okay. But you cannot make a wrong decision is what they're saying, because it's in the fear of making the wrong decision that you get stuck. And it's better if you flow with the lack of fear that you found within yourself through doing the shadow work. Flow with it. Yeah. So we're literally passing over, dying, whatever you want to call it, while we're alive. That's literally what we're doing. So that we can still be on this grounded physical world and see it for the wonder and beauty of what it is through the eyes of infinite possibilities, through the eyes of source energy. That's what source energy is. That's what God is, whatever you want to call it, the universe, I don't care. The all that is infinite possibilities. So when you're seeing your life through that, through the essence of that, fear dissolves and love creates. And everything that you've ever wished or desired is created from love. And everything that you are fearful of, you create through fear, meaning that you stagnate yourself. I think yeah. Okay. So that's pretty huge, right? It's in its own self, because now it's up to you and how you're going to make the transition. And you are the one with the reins. Now, you're not looking outside yourself for what the rest of the world needs. You're looking within yourself for what's matching your heart frequency, source energy, your alignment with love of all. And so you'll always take into account everything outside of you, because that is part of the game as well. But it's not like taking into account of they know more than what I know. No, you know where your heart is and how you feel. So you're taking the reins back to your feeling reality again, and that's going to change up everything. So you can now make a decision. Do you want to have contact with other beings? Because there are other beings out there that would love that would love to, through your own coming into alignment of yourself being a love frequency, then they are waiting for that. And so you could create an adventure like that of, I'm going to have more contact. Or I know for myself at the moment, because I've had so much contact anyway all my life, myself is more to do with creating a business, a grounded, firm business, and getting my messages out there, because I really love it. So I'm starting to really, really look at that and see that I actually have everything that I need to do this. I just need to take that proverbial jump off the cliff into creating this next, whatever this business side of myself is going to create. Or you could be someone that, hasn't had much contact and you want to have contact, or you want to be able to converse with the angels, or which is another being. There's different states of beings out there. There are the angels, and then there are beings that were called the fallen angels, which is something different, which are the Anunnaki, and there's all sorts of different. But we don't even have enough names and words for what's out there, honestly. So you could just leave it up to your higher self and what you're connecting with. You could become telepathic. You could see there's so many different gifts. Whatever the imagination holds is something. If it excites you, go towards it. It doesn't matter if it's what it is. It doesn't even matter anymore. Once you move through that space within yourself of, I now see my whole life, everything as love. Because you're a creator then. Yeah, okay. And I'm going around in circles. Let's see what else comes through. I'll just take my crystals. Okay, the great reshuffle. So this is going to change up every story this is so interesting. They're showing me the universe, and there's all this story that was repeating over and over for different species. The Lyrians had their issues, you know, their planets were blown up, and then they didn't trust other people, and now they create in secrets and secret gardens. And they also are infusing their DNA with other life form to try to make their physical body stronger and more able to be able to cope with other beings that seem to have more physical strength. So they've been going around in that story. Then the Anunnaki have their story where they've needed to, and then we'll come into the hidden codes, the gold, the monotonic gold. They needed to have that, and they were all about the outer world and how to control the outer world. They knew all about that, and so they taught humanity, and they were doing what they felt was the right thing because it was the right thing at that time. And we've got to stop with this whole demonizing everything because it doesn't feel right now, but that doesn't feel right now because we're moving into another reality. So seeing things for what they really truly are and not from our very limited perception of reality will make a big difference. Yeah, but everything is reshuffling. So that whole game, it's like it's like the chessboard no longer. It's like that game's not even going to be. It's going to be put in a shelf over there, and because we have this whole brand new 3, 4, 5th dimensional game to work with, and it's just an expansion because humanity, with their beautiful imagination, can conjure up so much amazingness. I mean, they're even telling me, even logic coming to its pinnacle and creating AI, you know, the worldwide net and AI and everything, logic came to its pinnacle. Even that holds all the vastness of the imagination that humanity has held, even though humanity's imagination was completely repressed throughout these last thousands of years. So can you imagine what? Can you imagine the imagining? What humanity can imagine, and that is always the spark of a new beginning. To be maybe grounded or maybe not, maybe held in the etherical world or maybe grounded. It's a new story. It's a new story. So we're all about now, what story do we want to create? Now, that's why they wanted us to do so much shadow work. That's why so many of us have gone through this tight squeeze while we're still alive. And it's been absolutely freaking daunting to all of us. It has for me, so I know it has for you guys. Really horrific things have been happening to us to really get us into alignment of, are you loving yourself? Are you allowing love into your life? Are you seeing the world through the eyes of love? If you're not, then slap. And because we had to go through all of that so that we didn't muck things up on the other side, because we have to come from a pure essence of love because we hold such a vast imagination. Where eons ago, when the fall happened and the Babylon and all that sort of stuff, and you know, Atlantis fell and all that sort of thing, those civilizations fell, and we ended up with that masculine energy ruling for a while. We had a vast imagination, but we were delving into all these emotions that we hadn't learned to control. Bringing me to now Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We needed to know how to love all of those emotions. And then we would be able to wake up to our feminine self, and that feminine self holding the imagination. Now humanity is going to be freed, and that freeingness will conjure up other realms, other realities. We become mini godlike. We become the gods of our own expression, creating. And I mean, saying that word in a word God as in source energy. You can call it whatever you like. So you can imagine now why they're saying there's a reshuffle. There has to be this place where we've found a newfound freedom within us. So what are we going to do with it? Who are we in this physical body to the world that we are creating? What do we really want to become? Let's see how we can ground that. And I know for myself, I don't have as much fear as what I did last year or even 6 months ago because of trauma that I'd gone through to get me into a place of, well, what the frick, I might as well. I don't know if you guys have gone through that. You know, you've gone through, somebody's really pressed your buttons or something really negative happened, and then you're just like, oh well, it's freed me because now I'm already been in the trenches with the worst scenario happen. So, and I'm still here. So I might as well just use my imagination to ask what can be grounded in a way that makes me feel like I'm feeling, you know, I'm really in that frequency of magnificence. Yeah, so there's going to be all these new gifts that are coming up because of this. It's not going to go away. And like you could focus in on thinking that somebody over there is pulling the wool over so many people's eyes. But when you've created your own reality from a perception of understanding that you can move the story at any time and you're already out of their matrix, then others will start to come through. And now they're showing me that vortex again, where we're pulling. It's not that we're pulling anyone through, but the gravity kind of goes that way. You know, it's like if you have an hourglass and the first few crumbs start to fall in, you get that funnel. And so it just pulls everything in because we are one. Humanity's consciousness is one. If you were holding on to an issue and you met it at love, that's where you end up getting slapped around because then you feel like the world is against you in that moment. But what it's trying to do is turn you around to realizing you have to give it to yourself because you can't look outside yourself for that emotion to be nurtured anymore. You nurture it. You nurture yourself. Then nobody else outside of you has any control over you because you've given everything to yourself. So this is what we're going through at the moment. Okay. Just want to get into the worldly events. Oh, I hate it how my voice does this in the morning, going from not speaking at all. And I don't speak because there's no one around here. I mean, the only ones I speak to is the dogs. They don't speak at all. And all of a sudden, I'm asking my throat to speak so much all of a sudden. Okay, so I do want to tune into a little bit of worldly events that's going on around at the moment. Now we have some alignments that are happening where if somebody does something not so good, like using the energies at the moment that are going, some are retrograde at the moment and they're using the energies to try to push their agenda onto humanity like they did in the past, and it always worked in the past because humanity had a blind eye to it through their own guilt, not wanting to look at their own self. Anything that the so-called guys are doing that hold the so-called power because they have physical power, physical money, physical whatever, where they haven't found the inner core power of realizing that their imagination can shift the story anyway, and that humanity is working through this themselves. if they try something now, especially to somebody that has held the light, done the work, it really will boomerang back on them. That's why they don't want, if you are someone who knows they self and is holding your light frequency, and something comes at you and you feel it's not that's not a very nice thing to have done or said or whatever. When you remove your energy and keep focusing on the love of self, it will automatically boomerang back to them, because they have to look at themselves. And that's a really key component to the light workers waking up others out there. If you feel it necessary to speak up and say one thing before you leave, then say it. But it's starting to get to a point where we don't even get triggered by it. And our untriggered, when we don't get triggered by something, that really will slap them back in the face. So say, for instance, a worldly event happens where they're trying to pull, I don't know, digital IDs and stuff like that into our reality. If we don't even give it a second thought, it's like, yeah, that's just going to crumble or fall. Then that's exactly what will happen, because our imagination is creating our path. They are hooking us into their story, so that we are focused in on their story, whether it be through fear or hope or whatever. They do not care, because they just need your hook. They just need your imagination to be focusing on it. So it's very vital at the moment, especially for the light workers, to be really focusing on how to ground the reality that we want to ground, or how we want it to look in this world. That's what we should be focusing on, rather than fixating or fixing something that really wasn't even broken. It's just that our trying to fix it made it seem broken. That's what they're channeling me through. It's like we thought things were broken, and so we felt the necessary to fix it. And in us fixing it, we caused the brokenness, because we weren't seeing it as a story that we didn't want to give any attention to, because we're creating something beautiful us over here with our imagination. We didn't want to, we thought we had, yeah. So it's like the elephant in the room. As soon as you think of those things, then they become bigger. And whether you're afraid of it or not, yeah. So just be aware of that anyway as we go through this reshuffle, because that's going to definitely be in our outer world a little bit, like creeping up. I don't watch things anymore. I don't even hardly know what's going on. Sometimes I'm like surprised every now and then, because a new worldly event is happening with somebody, and I'm like, I don't even know who they are anymore. Like, I really am focusing in on my own work now, because I want to create a world that's sustainable for everybody. But I have to do that from my own I can only do that from my own perception, because you are the key component of the world that you are fixated in on, and become part of that creation. So yeah, the only way to really escape any of that is to follow your own path. Okay. Well, if there's any questions anyway, please put them in the chat bar. Okay. Let's go back to the reshuffling. I just feel like there's something more happening with that. It's like breaking down of some things that we held on to for far too long. We might even find buildings falling that we thought were iconic buildings. We might even find that happening. Yeah, like Christchurch. We had the cathedral that fell through the earthquake. It was an iconic building for Christchurch in New Zealand. Because they're showing me the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They're showing me things that are nearly, they've just been held up by this physical world. But it's like, do we it's to let go of something that we could call very valuable in our life, but really does it serve purpose in this next dimension and this next creation? What is it actually serving? And if less and less attention goes towards something, that's when it starts to dissolve or crumble. They're showing me Chinese, over in China, where they've created incredible cities with pumped a lot of money into them physically, but the people didn't turn up. And they just ended up being these echoes of ghost towns. You could pump as much money as you want into something, but if there's not enough, that's really interesting. And so the shaking will happen and it will recreate you in another reality. So the dissolving of one place can create something new. But anyway, worldwide events. We are going to have some disasters, but it's not going to be one huge thing that happens over everything. It's like spot disasters. And that's because of the light workers that are dotted around the world, specific places, holding this grid line. It's like the worst scenarios or the black void that's taking things out can only happen in specific places. Alignments are going to shift. Portals are going to open up to new frequencies because you're opening them up within yourself. You're realizing the magic of this physical world goes way beyond what physical is taught you in schools. So you'll align, if you open your own frequency up to the frequency beyond the physical portal, then it will show up for you. And if you've had a past life or an experience in those worlds, then it's more likely to appear. Animals hold, sometimes they are gate keys or gate people or gatekeepers. Gatekeepers, the word I'm trying to find, for those portals as well. The elementals and stuff like that, that's all going to start to appear to a lot of us now. And there might even be quite a few people that are already playing in those realms. They're bringing up somebody that I know that's told me a story of them losing the plot. Like they literally were diagnosed with schizophrenia. This is years and years and years ago. And they said that they went into the forest and they could see the elementals and they literally felt like they could live in that world. But that's because their past life, they were in that world, but now they're in a physical body. They need to be in this physical world as a human. And so they wanted to go away and hide in the forest. And then they were found and taken to a place where schizophrenic people go when they're lost the plot, kind of thing. Well, not in reality anymore. But they're showing me that because when those people weren't in the frequency of being accepting themselves as a human. And we do have the capability of interacting with these other beings, but it's not like a body, our soul could go there, but our body won't fit into a tiny little mushroom house. So we have to love the fact that we're in this bigger physical body, but also that we can open our consciousness to bringing in messages of how to work with plant life and so forth. And yeah, where are we going with all of this? Every time they show me a reshuffling, they're showing me all of these different ways of doing things, but they're also showing me that there's something more. And I don't think I can get to that moreness, what that more is, because it's beyond, it's not been created yet. It's something that is, there's glimmers of light of this new world that humanity is stepping into, but it's only glimmers, and it's not fixed yet, so I can't quite channel it. And yet I know it exists because of there's, if I tune into the consciousness of humanity, there's this passion that's evolving within the heart space of humanity, desiring connection with, or going into these other realms that are they're creating themselves. And because they're not fixated in on the outer world being a limit now, because the limitations of the outer world is crumbling anyway. So this is where the reshuffling is coming in with something more to be developed. Just showing me a plaque in my head and going, coming soon. Like, put that on the ground, coming soon. Here's a new story developing. The writers, the artists, the creators, bouncing off each other. Even the AI images and videos, opening new doorways for humanity to express themselves in the way that they develop with nature, and how they actually evolve with Earth. It's all going to shift into something completely unique. It's very beautiful because of humanity's vast imagination that has been repressed for so long. And it's like the freedom of that, the freedom of our imagination moving into something new is so expansive beyond, and it's like a breath of fresh air. So your businesses that you are grounding at the moment are still limited by the logical brain telling you it has to be this way. But when you start to open or go towards your passions, ground it in a logical way, that's what you know, but it's like the others will be magnetized towards you, and then you bounce off ideas from each other in a creative manner, and the expression of that becomes the reality, like opening a doorway to telepathy or telekinesis. But there's more beyond that. There's something more beyond it. Creating houses through light, but there's more beyond that. There's something being pushed here, and humanity's imagination was kind of savored in a way, because source energy wanted to see how far we could go with this, because that's the opening for source energy to express itself in a new light and a new story. And humanity is one of the forefront runners of this new story. See, it doesn't matter that our bodies are smaller than other beings out there or whatever. If we have control over our minds and our vibration, then we will create a new door. We don't open, it's not even about opening old doors and to Lemuria and so forth. It's about we literally are drawing the door, and we are literally opening it up for ourselves to enter into this whole new game. And then all of those beings that were a part of our history are like, well, can we come? Yeah, they'll come. They can come too. Once they have cleared, they can only enter that doorway once they've found the same frequency of love that humanity has found before creating the doorway to begin with. So wow, we're really getting deep here into new creations. And this is why they're calling it a reshuffle, because it's not been done before. There's something not being done before. And they want us to, it's like the wholeness of everything, every single being, everything is in anticipation of what is going to be created next, through the story ending, through the iconic buildings not needing to, the chessboard's been put away. What's going to come out of this, because the vastness of more possibilities through frequencies, you know, and everything starts with sound and alignment, but it's that frequency that one is found through love after being through so much trauma, that a repressed imagination will explode into, through love, into something way beyond. It's beautiful what they're showing me. And like I said, I just wrote a post on Facebook and said, oh man, if everyone could there's just not enough words. If everyone could feel what I'm feeling, telepathy would be so much easier to be able to explain this. And that's okay, because so I can see now why that would open up a whole new door. Because when humanity goes back to the universal language of telepathy, feeling based and knowingness, being able to access Akashic records and understanding a true history, then of course we are going to be able to bounce off each other in a way that we never have before, because it was all lies that could come out of your mouth, and thinking another thing, a very separated communication. And with telepathy, it is a wholeness that comes together only through love. Because when the elder held my hand in, like this actually happened to me in the theatre, and connected to me telepathically, the love between us was just so expansive that my logical brain was having a brain fart. Like I couldn't almost handle it. So we're being shifted into these higher frequencies. The solar flares are pouring out onto us and changing things within ourselves and our DNA, aligning us with the old ways of the universal language again. But because of what we've gone through and the repressedness of the imagination, when we connect with each other through love and understanding, imagine all of the different, especially because there's light workers in human form now that have come from Pleiades, Lyra, even, you know, Sirius and all that sort of, they've come here. They hold a lot of different understandings of how to live on their planet. And it won't be the same, obviously, because Earth is her, you know, she's her own identity, but Earth has allowed those frequencies in. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to be born as a human. And so she is allowing the imagination that come with the past history that's come with it from the soul alignment. So when we're telepathically communicating with a light being that's come from another frequency, then you're downloaded, or humanity's consciousness is downloaded with all of that as well. So it's just this vastness, like it's just incredible vastness that is expanding us. And now we have to make a firm choice, because we love that. What do you want to choose? What do you want to ground? How do you want to express yourself in this beautiful world that's intertwined through the nature of all things, love itself? How do you want to be free? Yeah. So much more. Anyways, how's the forest doing? My art sounds like me, Annie, tapping into you earlier on. Aloha, super quantum architect. Oh, wow. I like your name. That's really cool. Yeah, we're all going into super quantum architects now. Our intention is so much. Our focus, our clarity of our minds, our clarity and our understanding of who we are. Wow, it's just going to be beautiful what we go into. But yeah, it'll shatter the illusion of the fixed program of control from an outside person. And like, wouldn't even make any difference whether they hold $1 billion or a freaking $1 million, or it doesn't make any difference anymore. If you have the ability to change the story through your own imagination and your own focus, if you have this ability, how to do this and connect with your heart, then all of that dissolves, because they have no bearing on you. They can throw something at you and you just go, you just turn another corner and don't even notice that they threw it at you. Like, because your focus isn't on the story that you're creating, and you realize you always had the reins to begin with to create the story that you wanted to imagine into place. Okay, I know we went pretty deep there. That was full on, like, but it's good to go in those places sometimes to really get a sense of what's on the other side of that, pouring through the hourglass into another reality. And it could be kind of daunting, but then again, it really just comes down to you deciding who you want to be and what you want to be in this world, and realizing that all possibilities are there. That if you can imagine it, it can become a reality. And because we're already squeezed through the essence of love, we're not going to go back to returning to that fear game anymore. Once you've healed something, really truly healed something within you, you're not going to go back, because it will really annoy you. It's kind of like when I did heal myself being a victim, all of a sudden my girlfriend that was a victim just annoyed the crap out of me. And yet I was best friends with her before, but when you heal something in yourself, you cannot be around it anymore. So you're shifted yourself into another reality. And that's the reality that you now play in. And if someone else comes at you trying to push that you're a victim onto you, then you wouldn't even, it would just be water off a duck's back. You wouldn't even notice it. So you're stepping into, through going through that vortex of just love within yourself, in squeezing out everything that doesn't align. You're going into a new expectation or new acceptance, new choices that you're going to be creating from. So because you're not in alignment with the fear-based, anger-based, control-based, guilt-based, you're not in alignment with it anymore. That's the higher frequencies. But we're still in a physical world because we want to be in a physical world. This is a beautiful story, to be in a physical world where I can sit on a chair in a body, and even if we do integrate telepathically or through the video, whatever, it's a beautiful story that we're moving through. We're not going to leave this, but we have an expansion of new ways of communicating. We don't have to pay a bill to communicate when we have telepathy. We don't have to pay a bill to jump on a plane when we have teleportation. And we don't have to pay a maid to or clean up our house ourselves when we have telekinesis. So yeah, we're aligning ourselves with clarity of mind, clarity of self, and then clarity of the world that we live in. And we'll create our world from that perspective. But we're still in a physical world because that's what we wanted to carve our way through. We wanted to be in a physical world. It's fun. Otherwise, we might as well just pass over and be in the in-between worlds. That's not the point. It's not the point at all. Okay, so yeah, if anyone says to you, we're leaving 3D and we're going into 5D, I'm always like, we're expanding 3D into 5D. We're expanding into different dimensional aspects of ourselves. We're integrating and forming new realities while still being in the 3D as well. It's fun. Okay, guys. I just answered your question. What can we do to get ourselves ready? Just answered the question. I didn't read the question. That's funny. Okay. Anyways, if I do tap into that, what can we do? Uh, yeah, I mean, it is all to do with our alignment with ourselves and finding clarity within ourselves of knowing who we are and where we want to go. That's so important. And also using our imagination for the benefit of our new creation. And don't limit it, allow it to express itself. It does depend on who you are and what you're wanting to bring in. But it has to come from a clarity of oneself to be able to move through this next dimension. Because when they took me into this new earth experience, when I was there, when I woke up and I was in a new earth experience, the first thing I noticed was my clarity of mind. My mind was so still. And that gives you clarity. You don't have the monkey mind telling you you're useless or any of that. That didn't exist. And doing the shadow work is shattering that. Doing the work where somebody comes up and pushes your buttons, and then you realize you had a button to push. You need to address that situation. You felt guilty. You felt small. You felt, when you feel those things, you've been telling yourself those things in your mind as well. And they're just pushing that button, saying that that's who you are. And then you've got to readdress it. And then you become more clarity of mind because you're no longer allowing, it just dissolves. It dissolves because you've worked on it and you're given what you are looking outside yourself. You're looking for somebody outside yourself to tell you you are good enough. You are giving that back to yourself. I am good enough. I am an amazing person. Just because I'm born is enough for me to be this amazing, magnificent, beautiful soul in this body, moving through my reality. How do I want to express that? Who do I want to be? Give me if I don't have the finances to be able to push into the next thing that I really want, what's the next step that I can do to give me the finances? Or, shift your story, change your story to show that up for yourself. Or put out to the world that it will come to you. You are deserving of it. I am deserving of it. Those sort of things. That's how we prepare ourselves for these new dimensions. They don't want us to go into this expansiveness of the imagination with this smallness of ourselves. And then we end up in trouble again. That's what happened to begin with. We didn't feel worthy enough of what we were going into. And so we turned it into guilt, and problems became more bigger problems, and then others outside of us controlled us because we didn't trust ourselves. So this is all about our trusting ourselves game at the moment and who we are. And if you needed a rest for a few years or a few months or a few weeks or whatever, then so be it. If you needed to realign and reshuffle your imagination into what you really want to be in this world, then so be it. If other people around you don't like it, too bad, so be it. It's because you're aligning yourself with the love of self more and more and more. What's going to feel good for you in this body, in this life? Who do you want to be expressing yourself as? So we all become grateful leaders of our own reality, meeting other grateful leaders of their reality, and then telepathically connecting and sharing what we've learned and expanding our reality. That's what we end up doing. Very cool. Okay, so I think that's about it for today. Look out for my next hidden codes. That's a really powerful one about the gold. And I'll see you on Thursday. And I'm going to push myself a bit more. So I'm going to do some advertisements and stuff. I'm going to start grounding my business and getting it out there. That's what I'm doing. So good luck with everything that you're deciding upon. And if you haven't made a clear decision yet, that's okay too. It is coming. So until next time, bye.